Texas Transfer Grant. This webcast is being recorded. Today is Thursday, September 1st. I want to let you all know that we do have Deshae Reed, our Senior Director, is here, and she's going to be fielding questions throughout the webcast. So if you have any, feel free to put them in the chat box, and she'll be here to answer those for you as we move through. So we are going to get moving. Today we're going to look at our topics of discussion, which are program reminders. I'll provide you some general reminders about the program. We're going to discuss the process for requesting reimbursement and returning of program funds. I'll also leave you with some additional resources, and we should have some time for questions just in case there are some remaining at the end of the webcast. Let's go ahead and dive into the program reminders. Let's start with program administration. A couple of things I wanted to point out in regards to awarding is the transfer grant award is going to be for $5,000. It's a fall only award, and it's up to a student's cost of attendance. If this COA is exceeded, you are to reduce the loans and work study prior to reducing the Texas Transfer Grant. That's the only reason that this grant should be reduced. Otherwise, a student should receive that full $5,000. Now, in order for a student to be eligible, they must be enrolled in a minimum of 9 semester credit hours through your census date. And again, over awards, in the case of that occurring, as long as the excess resources is not greater or does not exceed that $300, then you would not be required to adjust the award. Another important reminder is the selective service criteria. The transfer grant funds are subject to this criteria because one is a statutory requirement that applies to all state-funded financial aid as well as federal funds or gifts and grants accepted by the state. So the Texas Transfer Grant funds are going to fall under bullet number 2. So the second bullet there will give you that a good description. We'll go ahead and move into the requesting reimbursement process. I know those were just a few reminders, but as far as requesting reimbursement, we did just release the instructions. We released those on Friday, August 26th. Those instructions they do cover requesting reimbursement and return of funds. So we will go ahead and take a closer look at both of those processes. Now, what we did for the requesting reimbursement, we developed 4 processes to kind of break this down for you. So we'll go ahead and walk through each one of those and see what that looks like. The first step is going to be the reimbursement template. The first thing you'll do is download that reimbursement template. What you're going to input here is your student data. For everyone that met that enrollment requirement, selective service requirement, and everyone that you are requesting a reimbursement for, their data will go on this reimbursement template. You're going to include the name of your institution. You'll enter your 6-digit FICE. And any numbers you input, such as the FICE, no special characters or anything like that. So it's just SSN. You're going to do the full SSN, no dashes. You'll input the student's last name, first name, the date of birth. You'll use the following format: 4-digit year, 2-digit month, and 2-digit day. So if the student was born April 6th of 1999, you'll input it using the format you see here in the field. The hours of enrollment through census. So once you confirm that for your students, that's what you'll input there. So in the example, the student's in 9 hours. In this example, they were dispersed $5,000. The semester is auto-populated, so you won't have to fill that in unless you're inserting rows. So when you insert a row, you might have to go ahead and place the semester there. The explanation, you will only provide an explanation if you dispersed an amount less than 5,000. So in the case of an over award, like we just discussed, or then you would want to put that explanation there. So if you only gave a student 3,500, then yes, we want to know what was the case there. Once you've input your student data, you're going to save your file with the following format. It'll be your 6-digit FICE underscore TTG reimbursement underscore fall 2022. The next step is going to be your to complete the reimbursement request form. The first thing I want to point out is make sure before submitting the form that you complete all the fields. Even if you do not see the red asterisk, still make sure it's completed. First, you're going to select your institution type. It's only going to be 2 options there: public university or HRI, health-related institution. Next, you'll use the drop-down menu. You'll select your institution's information. You should see your FICE, your institution's name, and your allocation amount. And this will be your allocation that is input on your interagency contract. So that original allocation we gave you, make sure that you select that there. You will then enter your total reimbursement amount. So once you total those students that you input on that spreadsheet, that total will then go here. So this is the amount you're requesting from us. We also want to know the student count. So if it were 55 or if it was 3,055. Step 3, I just told you for that reimbursement file that you put your student data on. Here's where you're going to upload that file that you just saved. You're going to upload it here. Step 4, and these steps are in that request for the reimbursement. This is all one form. Before you submit this form, it's a small box right above your submit button, and it says, send me a copy of my responses. Check that box. Once you check that box, it's going to provide a field for you to insert your email address, put that in, and that way you'll get a copy of of your responses. And that's a good way to track what you've done or what you've already submitted to us. Now that you've done that, you can look your form over, make sure you completed all the fields. Now you're ready to hit submit. The one thing I wanted to point out is the final day to submit those reimbursement requests is October 14th of 2022. For any of you that have an extremely large number of students, you might want to do your request for submission in batches. You can definitely do that. So if you have 5,000 students and you want to do them, maybe a few hundred at a time, 500 at a time, or however many, you can most definitely do that. Just make sure that you follow all of the steps that we just covered for each submission, and be sure to submit all requests by this deadline. Now, your interagency contract expires October 28th, but keep in mind that the submission deadline is separate from that. So no matter how many how many requests you submit, they all have to be submitted by this date. So now that we've gone through how you request your submission for reimbursement, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the return of funds. If this were to occur, to initiate a return of funds, you would start by completing the online return of funds form for grants and special programs. Be sure that you complete every field that's required. I have, in the instructions, I highlighted those fields just as you see here. Your institution FICE has to be input, your institution name. For contact information, all three positions are required. So if you're thinking, well, I'm the financial aid director, but I'm also the reporting official. Well, input your name and information in both rows, because they all have to be done. So make sure that your information is in both rows, even if it's the same person. The award year will be 2022 to 2023. It feels so odd saying that, but it's going so fast. The program you'll select from the drop down is going to be Geared Texas Transfer Grant. And then you can go ahead and move to your special programs, whichever you like, whichever option you prefer to move to next is fine. But just make sure you put the amount that you're returning, and then the number of student awards, or you can student count, whichever you want to refer to, but the number of students being impacted by this return. Now, when you look at your detailed refund explanation required for this program, not only do we want the explanation, but we also want you to go ahead and give us a listing of the students that's impacted by this return. So I put an example in here. John Doe is one of the students that's impacted. His social is included and his date of birth. I use the same format that's used in the spreadsheet. That way, if you're, maybe easier to just to copy and paste. But as long as that information is included there, that's what we need to tie that money back to the student. So you will also include the certifying name and title of the person completing the form, the date, And that summary box below is going to be auto-populated, so you won't have to worry about that one. You can move to the submit button. And before I move from this, I just wanted to give you just a couple of tips for completing this form. Uh, just make sure that if you submit and anything is missing, you will get an error message. So you'll have to go in and complete all the fields that's required, and then just go back and hit the submit button. Once you submit your RFF, return of funds form, you'll receive a confirmation email, including a copy of the request. And not just you, the person completing, but the three people, actually the three people in that contact description area, those three emails will be sent a copy of that confirmation. And just one more tip, to for these fields here, where you see my mouse, the special programs, I'm kind of circling. For this to open up, you have to click and select the program. If not, it will not allow you to type here. So that's just a quick tip. So now that we've went through that, um, and many of you um, might be familiar with this, maybe not, but once you do so, we'll get that information, like I said, and then you get your confirmation. I'm going to move forward with some additional resources I have for you. I know we've talked about our Student Financial Aid Program website before, but this is a dedicated section that I just wanted to make sure I bring up again. It's on the Student Financial Aid Program's website under Program Resources and Grant Programs. If you scroll down the page, you'll see the section for Texas Transfer Grant Pilot Program. Any resources that we develop, create, will be placed here. And this is for and this includes our FAQs, archived webcast, anything that we feel will be helpful for you, we'll put here. And that's just and as it grows and just to help you in the administration of this program. We also wanted to place a to hone in on the student-facing website. This is a dedicated website for Texas Transfer Grants pilot program. This gives every recipient was given this link in their award letter as a reference. It talks about the programs, the program requirements. It gives them information on the research study. Um, it has an FAQ section, and also it provides a list of participating institutions. I also placed that URL on our site for you all, just so you'll see what the students see. So just wanted to point those things out. Another um, another group of resources we place on the site is the fact sheet, the program fact sheet. We have instructions similar like the ones we just released. Anything like that will always be placed there for you all to help give you some extra clarity and guidance. I just mentioned the archived webcasts because we do record them and we provide those as well as a copy, a PDF copy for you, and also FAQs for the institutions. We just released this week an additional 3 FAQs because they were some frequently asked questions. So anytime we start getting them like that, we'll we start vetting to add to the FAQ list. So keep your eyes on it because when we get those frequently, we'll vet and then we publish when we publish new ones, um, just know that we'll put them out here and the list grows. So you might look out and see more than were out here previously. Now that I've given you all this information, I'll let you know how you can contact us. If you have even more questions, we are here for you. Our hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. We do close 12 to 1 daily for lunch. Our phone lines are closed during this time. However, contact us remains open 24/7. It's open to receive your inquiries, and we will answer them as promptly as we can. Speaking of contact us, filling this request out, I want to make sure that it's routed appropriately and timely. So to do so, just be sure that in the receive from box, you put your select institution and then enter your institution's name. For the contact reason, always put financial aid question, regardless of why you're contacting us. For the description, if it's a transfer grant question, you can enter transfer grant program. Although it's not a red asterisk there, please provide your phone number because that's helpful. Sometimes it's just more helpful to pick up the phone and give you a call if we need some clarifying information. So the best direct phone number, it would be great to get in touch with you with. And that is all I have for you as far as today. Um, if you still have questions, we can go ahead and open that up. I'll check in with Deshay and see how things are going. Thank you all for joining. I hope this was helpful. We will get, yes, this presentation will be put online, usually within a week, but I typically try to get it out within 1 to 2 days. But no more than a week. Any other questions? Thank you all so much for joining. When should you stop getting recipient lists? At this point, someone explain the three. The recipient rosters, at this point, Deshay, I'm going to defer to Deshay to see if she has an idea for when those might stop. I don't want to give you a guess. Um, but what I will say is after your census date, um, no, I'm gonna let Deshay. I'm gonna defer that one to Deshay. So Deshay said we will have to work with our partners to determine the exact date. So, and a question came through regarding the 300. Okay, that is if there is an over award. Deshay did answer that one. Any others? Yes, that is the over award. That is the tolerance amount. Dana, you are correct. Ellen is asking, will this require an update to the FAD 001 specifications for next year? You will report this in FAD. Data, yeah, you'll report it in data element number 66. Yes, it will be in an existing data element. It's and that is Ellen Nystrom. That's your question. You're saying, will it be in an existing element? Yes, you will use data element 66. You're welcome. Any further questions? Uh, this was a little speedy. We can give you all back some time this afternoon. And once again, thank you all for joining. We will announce when this is posted and published on the website for you all. If you have additional questions, please don't hesitate to send them through Contact Us or give us a call. We appreciate you and all the work you do to help with the students and to help with this program. Have a great and safe weekend, and we will talk to you all soon. Take care, everybody. Thanks again. Bye-bye. We are now closing this webcast.